Greetings, I'm your host, Dr. Wolfula, with a review of Alien Romulus, the latest entry in the classic sci-fi, sometimes horror, sometimes action series, directed this time by Fede Alvarez of Don't Breathe and the Evil Dead remake. Ignoring Predator crossovers, Romulus is the 7th Alien film to date, a franchise that began with two of the best sci-fi movies ever made, with Ridley Scott's horror-heavy Alien and James Cameron's action-heavy Aliens.
Get away from her, you bitch!
But beyond these two iconic films, the Alien series has struggled to meet that same extraordinary level of quality, and at this point, it probably never will. But I don't think there's ever been a truly bad standalone Alien film. The post-Alien sequels have been underwhelming or disappointing, but even with something like David Fincher's Alien 3 and its assembly cut, I can appreciate it for what it set out to do, being depressing as hell in the process.
So I say, fuck that thing! Let's fight it!
And Alien Resurrection is cheesy, but still fun to watch. And Prometheus, I don't remember clearly, but I didn't hate it. I was just sort of baffled by it. Covenant was a course correction and nothing memorable either, but it served its purpose as a watchable Alien flick while trying to reconcile Prometheus's baffling elements. Alien Romulus opts to give the series a sort of fresh start as an interquel between the original film and Aliens, aka the best movies in the series, the same route taken as the video game Alien Isolation, which partially inspired this newest film. But there's still quite a bit of Prometheus in Alien Romulus, but then again, there's quite a bit of every Alien movie in Alien Romulus, especially the early entries.
This could be our only ticket out of here.
Alien Romulus tells the story of a young woman named Rain, no relation to blood, who lives on a run-down mining planet that's shrouded in clouds. Most living on this colony never see its sun, and the populace works as indentured servants to the oppressive corporation running this world, with only the falsest hope of being able to someday leave the planet. Somebody's been reading up on a certain billionaire's plans for colonizing Mars.
Is this really where you want to spend the rest of your life?
It's a nice change of pace in Alien Romulus to spend some time in a not totally remote location like usual for Alien movies, and get to see the kind of dystopian world we'd usually only get to hear about.
Earth, man. What a shithole.
Rain isn't alone in her plight, but she kind of is. The closest thing to family she has is Andy, played by David Johnson, a glitchy Weyland-Yutani synthetic reprogrammed by Rain's now-dead father, and Rain treats Andy like a brother.
Run.
Andy's the one highlight of the film's cast, exploring how we are increasingly anthropomorphizing our technology, which can lead to needlessly identifying with and sympathizing with what should only be an appliance. You probably love your toaster if it looked like a human and was named Timmy. Making technology look and act human is just a way for it to have control over you, make you trust it. But even if Andy isn't a real person, the affection of his surrogate sister Rain towards Andy is real.
Are you sure you want to do this?
And Rain grappling with these feelings towards a human-like machine hinders her attempts to act pragmatically. It's a very interesting investigation into our increasing relationship with technology. And Johnson sells it with his vulnerable performance as Andy, who's kind of pathetic but only wants to help. Andy is a lot like if they turned Urkel into an android. No wait, they did do a Family Matters episode with that, never mind. Ultimately, this is an Alien movie though, and Rain and Andy team up with Rain's ex-boyfriend Tyler and his crew to sneak aboard a seemingly abandoned Weyland-Yutani space station to steal some cryogenic pods that can allow them to enter hypersleep and reach a more hospitable planet.
Then this is our only ticket out of here.
The catch is that the space station is destined to crash into the planet in orbits in 36 hours, which wouldn't be too bad, but the pods that Rain and her friends need to retrieve are out of fuel, so they have to go deeper into the space station to find the cryogenic fuel, and yeah, they quickly discover that they aren't alone on this space station. It's swarming with alien specimens that Weyland-Yutani tried and failed to study. Facehuggers that want to make sweet, sweet love to the throats of our heroes to propagate a perfect species, the Xenomorphs. Alien Romulus really feels like a remix of the first 4 Alien films. You have the return to more of a horror atmosphere from the first film, you still have a lot of action from Aliens where there are tons of xenomorphs that become cannon fodder at a certain point. You have a pretty bleak, serious tone like in Alien 3, though nowhere near as bleak as Alien 3. And Alien Romulus even completely redoes the final act of Alien Resurrection, because it's banking on nobody having watched that movie. Winona Ryder wasn't in an Alien movie.
There's no point, is there?
Alien Romulus almost feels like they were told to remake the first 4 Alien movies, but they had to do it in one movie. It seems like it wouldn't work, but it works surprisingly well. Romulus has quite a few fan-servicey callbacks, though, which surprised me because it initially felt like an Alien movie looking to stand on its own. But it seemed like Fede Alvarez just wasn't totally confident in making a new Alien movie without trying to make us think of stuff from the classic Alien films. The space station recreates the cool cassette futurism seen in the original movie, where all the technology looks like a fancier version of a Texas Instruments calculator from the 70s, and you also, of course, have the xenomorphs, just as H.R. Giger designed them originally. That's all the legacy you'd necessarily need for an Alien movie, but at one point a character seriously says,
Get away from her, you bitch!
which made me whisper seriously under my breath. The fan service sometimes felt tonally out of sync with the rest of the movie.
Fucking thing's hunting us.
Then, of course, Alien Romulus also features the return of Ian Holm's android from the original Alien.
Perfect. Organism.
Now, if you weren't aware, Ian Holm died in 2020, but of course they got around this with a deep-faked body double for Ian Holm's character, whose name is Rook instead of Ash this time around, which made me roll my eyes. Oh, his name is Rook, like Bishop, a chess thing. Awesome.
Just stay away from me, Bishop. You got that straight?
Rook is damaged before the events of Romulus, but Rook somehow looks uncannier than a puppet of Lance Henriksen's head.
My legs hurt.
Rook's purpose in Romulus is much like Ash's in Alien, to serve as an antagonist looking to preserve the aliens on Weyland-Yutani's behalf and deliver exposition surrounding the hostile creatures. And it kinda just feels like the movie wanted to catch the main characters up on what the audience already knows as quickly as possible. I would have preferred the characters being kept in the dark, focusing on survival for most of the film, picking up details as they go along, but they know exactly what a xenomorph is before they even meet one.
Stay quiet.
The movie didn't even need Rook, and he ends up having his Prime Directive overwritten and becomes apathetic towards the humans he serves, serving Weyland-Yutani's purposes instead, and the space station has the Mother AI. They could have made do just with these 2 elements, but it felt like they couldn't resist bringing Ian Holm back to life for some nostalgia.
I can't lie to you about your chances, but you have my sympathies.
Alien Romulus, often needlessly dwelling on its franchise's past, is only a slight shame because it otherwise is a solid sequel. Arguably, it may even be the best sequel since Aliens. Not that that would be too difficult, and it obviously isn't anywhere near as good as the first 2 movies, but Romulus is still good, which is a little surprising because it feels very much like it's set up to be a cheap slasher knockoff of Alien, with a much younger cast than usual for one of these movies, like Jason X with a xenomorph, but the movie takes its material very seriously. There are some goofy moments, but the movie is ultimately tastefully done.
Should be in and out in 30 minutes.
The cast of human characters feel like basic archetypes, admittedly. They don't feel like fully formed people, but Romulus is more of a horror movie, so it works okay in this context. Rain is just new Ripley, but without an arc like Ripley. Rain just turns into Ripley because that's what's expected of a heroine in an Alien movie at this point.
Do you see it?
You have Rain's ex-boyfriend Tyler, whose only purpose is to very briefly teach Rain how to use a Colonial Marines gun, which he himself has never used before.
Where'd you learn all this?
Games and magazines.
You have Tyler's cousin, whose role is just to be a dick, introducing conflict early in the film. You have the pilot, who becomes an alien host first, which makes getting off the station tricky. And then you have Tyler's sister, who is completely useless as a character beyond being a damsel in distress, but she's pregnant, so I guess that's supposed to make us care about her. The characters are set up for a horror film, though, and they're serviceable in their roles. And the film has some great tense sequences where anything can happen because the characters are just total nobodies played by relative unknowns. Like a sequence where the characters have to silently sneak through a room of facehuggers that are blinded to the characters by matching the room's heat to the characters' biological temperatures, or another scene where a character is trapped in a room with a xenomorph waiting for her friends to open the door. It's a very strong start for an alien horror movie, but a little disappointingly, it kinda drifts off more into becoming a light version of Aliens, where it's much more about the action than the suspense. The aliens become cannon fodder, quickly shredded by bullets, their blood being acid becoming the only real obstacle. It sort of makes the aliens seem like an inconsequential threat. The movie makes more of a point to highlight the danger of their blood touching the ship.
It's got a wonderful defense mechanism. You don't dare kill it.
There also isn't much of a sense that the characters are being hunted by xenomorphs on the ship. After the first xenomorph is revealed, the characters just kinda run into the xenomorphs afterwards instead of the xenomorphs trying to find them.
Fucking thing's hunting us.
The movie does shift gears back into horror for the final act though, but it's executed in a very questionable way where they essentially just shamelessly redo the ending of Alien Resurrection with a fucked up looking alien-human hybrid, but much like the hybrid in Resurrection, it's fucked up looking in all the wrong ways. The final alien in Romulus looks really goofy and out of place, like a rejected Deadite from Alvarez's Evil Dead. The audience in my theater laughed when Romulus revealed its human-alien hybrid. It basically looks like the hybrid from Resurrection, but with a Prometheus engineer's handsome Squidward head. I guess it's like if H.R. Giger designed Voldemort. We were supposed to be afraid of it, but it just looks silly. And yeah, it seems like Romulus ends in a way where it can potentially connect to the storyline of the Prometheus prequels down the line and try to give them some kind of closure. I honestly don't need any closure for any of the Prometheus shit.
Don't let the bed bugs bite.
Alien Romulus, despite its flaws though, is a good sequel that I really enjoyed overall. Besides some weaknesses in the script and the final act monster, the execution of the film is solid, especially the design of the film's creepy space station setting. It isn't necessarily a narratively engaging film, but it is a visually engaging one. It looks cool, it has a tense atmosphere, there's some great action, inventive sequences, and the sound design is incredible. The movie could easily stand on its own as just a new Alien movie, but it feels like it has an obligation to justify its existence by making itself part of a greater whole, when it could just exist on its own like the Evil Dead remake if you ignore the Delta and Ash post-credit scene. It got to the point where I was expecting to see a deep-fake cameo of Sigourney Weaver in a cryopod setting up aliens, and I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up happening in whatever the next Alien movie turns out to be. Alien Romulus is a good start, a step in the right direction, but I've said that quite a bit in the past about movies and things that end up going off the rails in the next ones, sometimes delightfully off the rails, but still off the rails. Hopefully, wherever Romulus takes us next, it maintains a steady course. I give Alien Romulus a CGI Ian Holm out of Puppet Lance Henriksen.
Run.
Do me a favor. Disconnect me. I could be reworked, but I'll never be top of the line again. I'd rather be nothing. Before I go, I want to give a shout out to this video sponsor, me! Pledge to my Patreon today to support the channel, help it continue to grow, and you'll also get access to weekly movie nights every Sunday and archive commentaries if you miss the movie nights live. Just $5 a month to get a movie night every week. Here's the movie I'll be streaming next Sunday. Pledge to patreon.com/Dr. Wolfula if you're interested in my bonus streams, and I thank you in advance. Alright, let's watch Family Matters. This video is made possible through the pledges of my Patreon supporters, and I'd like to give a very special thanks to the kind folks pledged to my shoutouts tier. All of the support on Patreon means a lot to me, and it helps my dark influence continue to grow. If you like this video, like it, and if you loved it, click the subscribe and bell buttons for more vids. Be sure to also keep in touch by following me on social media at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dr. Wolfula. While I still have your attention, consider pledging to my Patreon to support the channel and get bonus content like previews, VIP Discord server access, private movie night streams, and credits in videos. Consider pledging at patreon.com/Dr. Wolfula. Also, check out official Dr. Wolfula t-shirts and other merch on tpublic.com/user/Dr. Wolfula. Thanks for watching. See you all next time. Dr. Wolfula signing out.